Abuja, the place that unites Nigeria.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Good evening and welcome. Tonight's news lineup has little bits of everyone, of course. You know, the treatment has the extra touch of the fine details. The Constitution Review public hearing across the country is throwing up interesting issues and ideas for serious consideration. We also have our eyes on infrastructural development across the country, the highs, the lows, and those somewhat in the middle. There is a surge of hope in the Northeast where some IDPs have been resettled into brand new homes. Also, firemen are being fired up to respond better to emergencies. It is an eclectic ensemble tonight. However, don't take my word for it. After all, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Omar, and this is News Extra. I welcome you. A new national policy on climate change has been approved by the Federal Executive Council. The Minister of Environment, Dr. Mohammed Mahmoud, who announced this while briefing newsmen after the council's meeting, said government is committed to ending gas flaring by 2030 while Ogoni cleanup is on course. State House correspondent Adam Sambo reports on this and other resolutions adopted by the council.
The meeting, presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, discussed extensively on the issue of climate change and its serious implications on the nation's environment, economy, and indeed the livelihoods. Consequently, the existing policy, approved since 2012, had to be revised, especially with the Paris Agreement.
Recently, a lot of flooding has been happening. It's all as a result of climate change. Insecurity has a lot to do with climate change. Now, as we are preparing to go to COP26 in Glasgow at the end of this year, this climate change policy also has repositioned Nigeria to be able to upgrade whatever that we have achieved in the last few years so that we can present to the world during the Glasgow meeting. The objective is to have a Nigeria that is low carbon and also climate resilient and also gender sensitive in the future. It is assumed that by the year 2050, we should have carbon neutrality.
The minister, who used the opportunity to give an update on the organic cleanup, said 17 contaminated sites have already been certified clean. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed also announced Council's approval for the award of contract for the design, manufacture and supply of aviation security uniforms and accessories at 1.1 billion naira.
Another memo which the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment presented, which is of critical importance to the infrastructure development of this country, is the award of contract for the sum of 18 billion naira to develop infrastructure at Kano and Calabar free trade zones, the textile and garment park in Lagos State, and the special economic zone, Lekki Lagos, for the Nigerian Export Processing Zone Authority, NEPZA.
2 memos were also approved for the Minister of the Niger Delta Affairs, including the revised estimated cost of the contract for erosion flood control work on the construction of Idemili Ntagba Unoike Onitsha Road in Delta State at 244 million naira. On her part, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, briefed the Council on the first quarter 2021 GDP results released by the National Bureau of Statistics.
A report shows that Nigerian GDP has grown to 0.51% year-on-year in real terms in the first quarter of 2021. And this first quarter performance marks the second consecutive quarter of positive real GDP growth. The improved economic conditions that has been reported is indicative of the fact that 23 out of 46 activities recorded positive growth in the first quarter of 2021 compared to 17 in the previous quarter. In addition to the economic activities and the reopening of businesses, growth was also boosted, in fact, by increase in crude oil prices, as well as economic activities within the metal ore sector, the cement sector, electricity, telecommunications, food and beverages, as well as human health and social services.
The minister said for the first time in 19 months, inflation has shown a slight dip, while the agricultural sector posted a strong growth at the rate of 2.28%. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Also, at the Federal Executive Council meeting today, the Honorable Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Dr. Gotsu Akpabio, presented 3 memos that were approved. They include variation of contracts for the completion of the Phase 1 rehabilitation of Okwala Igwogorunta Road in Imo and Rivers State. Council also approved the revised erosion and flood control works on the construction of Ndemili Utwagba Unoike Onitsha Road with completion period of 4 weeks. In addition, Council ratified the President's anticipated approval for the award of contract for the purchase of 33 vehicles for the Security Committee of the Forensics Audit Exercises of the NDDC. In the meantime, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has formally reacted to criticisms in some quarters on President Buhari's warning to those attacking security agents and burning critical national assets, describing them as baseless and mischievous. The minister stated this while addressing journalists after the meeting of the Federal Executive Council. State House correspondent Adam Sambo has the details.
Whoever wanted diversion or destruction of the system at this point, I think will soon have the shock of their lives.
In their reaction to that presidential warning to those misbehaving in parts of the country, Nigerians in certain quarters accused the president of maintaining double standards. They claimed that such a riot act has never been read in the case of insurgents, bandits and kidnappers. But the Information Minister, Lai Mohammed, defended the action of the president, saying no leader will fold his arms and allow such senseless acts continue to undermine national unity, security and stability.
We should stop comparing apples with oranges. If an organization is proscribed, it is different from any other organization which is not proscribed. Two, any organization that gives directives to its members to attack police stations, to kill policemen, to attack correctional centers, to kill warders. I'm not saying that Mr. President does not have the right to express his dismay and anger about that. He is free to express such views. We are the one guilty of double standards. I don't see anywhere in the world where an organization, a person will stay in somewhere outside Nigeria and will direct its members to attack the symbols of authority, the police, the military, especially when that organization has been proscribed. By whatever name, you can't justify giving orders to kill policemen or to kill anybody you do not agree with.
On the reported deleting of some of the president's tweets on the matter by Twitter, the Information Minister described it as unfortunate, saying the mission of the social media organization in Nigeria is suspicious.
As Twitter deleted the violent tweets that Nnamdi Kanu has been sending, has it? When people were burning police stations and killing policemen in Nigeria during answers, for Twitter, it was about the right to protest. But when a similar thing happened on the Capitol, it became insurrection. We are not going to be fooled by anybody. We have a country to rule, and we'll do so to the best of our ability. Twitter's mission in Nigeria, citing those two examples, is very suspect.
The minister had earlier announced the Federal Executive Council's approval of 5.6 billion naira for emergency supply, installation and maintenance of oxygen production plants and construction of plant houses in each of the 36 states of the Federation and Abuja.
I will also, on behalf of the head of service, report that the council today approved the award of contract for the appointment of insurance companies for group life assurance for federal government employees, public servants, paramilitary and intelligence community for the year 2021-2022 in the sum of 9,248,995,907 naira.
The approval, the minister explained, is part of a deliberate attempt by the Buhari presidency to effectively cater for the welfare of all public employees who can also be adequately insured in case of death. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
On the 22nd of March 2021, when the Senate convened a public hearing on the bill seeking to prohibit and abolish discrimination between first degrees and higher national diplomas, participants at the engagement made a clarion call for its quick passage. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Wumpo reports that 2 months after, the bill has been passed by the Senate.
2021 for consideration.
Plenary began with President of the Senate Ahmed Lawan reading presidential request for the consideration of the harmonized retirement age of Teachers Bill 2021.
Seeks to increase the retirement age of teachers from 60 to 65 years and also increase the possible years of service from 35 to 40 years.
Senate has passed the bill seeking to prohibit and abolish discrimination between first degrees and higher national diplomas for the purpose of employment and promotions in Nigeria 2021, sponsored by Senator Ayo Akinyelure.
And it's one way of encouraging our polytechnic graduates. That should not take away from the kind of training they receive, but in fact it's supposed to be a motivation.
The National Institute for Border Studies IMECU Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Tolu Odebiyi, and the Federal Orthopedic Hospital Kuta Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Mohammed Sani Musa, also passed third reading. And then some passed second reading. These include the bill that seeks to make comprehensive provisions for every government of the Federation to establish and maintain implementation plans for projects within their jurisdiction from inception to conclusion, sponsored by Senator Jibrin Barau.
Ideally, once the battle of leadership of a nation is handed over to a new government, the onus lies on the regime to embrace the projects, policies, and programs of the previous administration.
Some of these projects are ego-induced, and no succeeding government will want to take over such a project. The primary determinant for continuity of any project is the overall economic benefit to the citizenry.
The Federal Capital Territory Borderline Community Development Commission, sponsored by Senator Sani Musa, and the National Food Safety Council and National Food Safety Management Committee Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Abubakar Kyari, also passed second reading. Following motion by Senator Sam Egu, Senate called on the Nigerian police to investigate the killing of 62 indigenes of Izi clan of Ado local government area of Benue State.
Provide an alternative template for the decongestion of the federal capital territory and reduce the security burden of congested borderline communities,
with the objective of ensuring that food and feed safety risks are effectively managed.
It will also help the exportation of our food products, thereby increasing foreign exchange.
The NEMA to immediately intervene through the provision of relief materials to the families of the victims.
Senator Istifanus Gyang called for strengthening of security in Plateau North Senatorial District, where some persons were recently killed and houses destroyed. 5 bills passed first reading. These include the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal Act Amendment Bill, sponsored by Senator Suleiman Abdul Kwari. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
In the meantime, stakeholders in the South are insisting that Nigerians must learn from the mistakes of the past and place national interest above parochial ones. This is from the ongoing constitutional amendment public hearing at the Uyo Zonal Center. Clement Barakui has that.
The zonal public hearing for Uyo Center covers Akwa Ibom, Rivers and Cross River states. 11 broad areas of amendment of the 1999 Constitution were put forward to enable the people present their positions.
Local government administration, such as autonomy of local government under the Constitution, uniformity in the tenure of local government, financial autonomy, and who conducts election of the local government, and so on.
And there is so much power vested in the center at the expense of the constituent state, so as to make our federation indeed truly a unitary state under the guise of a federal state.
We believe that if states control their resources, there will be healthy competition, which can translate into national economic growth and development.
Representatives of Akwa Ibom and Rivers State, socio-political groups, labor unions and individuals call for devolution of power, local government and judiciary autonomy, as well as creation of more state and local governments.
It is demanded of ILO member states through their national parliament to rectify and domesticate such standards in their national laws.
We want to have right number 11, the right to nature, the right to protecting our environment.
When successful, this will be the 4th alteration to the 1999 Constitution, and the stakeholders in Uyo Center believe major fundamental issues affecting the country will be resolved in the proposed amendment. In Uyo, Clement Barakui, NTA News.
Similarly, a two-day Northwest Zonal public hearing on review of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended has commenced in Kano. Samira Hamis Ashira reports that the session was declared open by Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, who charged the participants to put the interest of Nigeria first so as to secure the best constitution.
Kano is among the Northwest centers for the review of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. The aim of the exercise is to address some lingering issues and lacunas in the Constitution, which among other things include the devolution of power, strengthening the institution of independence, legislature and legislative bureaucracy, creation of state and local government, among others.
Our focus of this time is to fully secure the participation of all Nigerians in the process and to be able to have a constitution that can reasonably meet the expectations of we, the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as an irreducible minimum condition to, at least in a way, through the inclusion of the people's broad spectrum views and divergent opinions in the process, as it is obvious the concept of constitutional democracy will be half dead without the people factor.
While declaring the session open, Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje said Kano State government is in full support of the exercise. He, however, cautioned on the need to avert the splitting of this country.
It is expected to put together the norms, values, and the interest of a number of different communities, clans, and groups to work perfectly for the unity, peaceful coexistence, and the progress of the entire nation.
Over 30 presentations are expected to be entertained during the two-day session. From Kano, I am Samira Hamisu-Shara, NTA News.
Tribute on security now. In many cases in recent times, it looked like criminals perpetrate their dastardly acts and disappear into the wind. Now, the long arm of the law is now reeling in them. This is manifesting following a series of raids and intelligence across the country that resulted in the arrest of 81 suspects over alleged involvement in kidnapping, banditry, armed robbery, and illegal possession of arms. Francis Form reports.
It was a harvest of arrests for the Nigeria Police Force between April and May 2021, following covert and overt operations.
From diplomatic members such as the United Nations to the presidency, and of course other regular plate numbers were recovered.
These suspects were arrested in connection with 20 locally fabricated AK-47 rifles.
We are the ones that manufacture it. I learned the profession from my boss, late James.
These locally fabricated AK-47 uses the same ammunition with the imported AK-47 rifles.
This kidnap gang, operating along Zaria-Kaduna axis, was on the verge of kidnapping the Catholic Archbishop of Zaria Diocese before they were arrested.
Investigations have clearly established that the members of this gang were responsible for the kidnap of Professor Aliu Muhammad. They were also responsible for the kidnap of the grandsons of Honorable Bashir Saidu, the Commissioner for Finance in Kaduna State.
This 30-year-old suspect and his gang operate between the borders of Sokoto and Niger Republic. They met their Waterloo after kidnapping and killing one Alhaji Abba Abi, a former aide to the former governor of Sokoto State.
After he was lured by his ex-girlfriend, who at the point of kidnap had moved on and had fallen in love with one of the bandits.
The police says it has recovered 45 assorted firearms, 9,899 live ammunitions, 80 illegally produced number plates, and 2 cars. It will charge the suspects to court after Justice's strike. Francis from NTA News.
Thank you, Francis. Up ahead on News Extra, we bring you a defining moment that is a transition from a makeshift to permanent homes, courtesy of a governor who is determined to change the narrative of his people. Also, a critical source of water supply to residents of the nation's capital on the serious threat. And what could that be? Hang in there for answers when News Extra returns shortly.
Print newspapers is 10. To celebrate this landmark, the Blueprint 10th Anniversary and Impact Series Awards comes up on Thursday, 3rd June 2021. Time 10 a.m. Venue Congress Hall, Transcorp Hilton, Abuja. Chairman of the occasion, Distinguished Senator Ahmed Ibrahim Lawan, President of the Senate. Special guest, His Excellency Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, former President and recipient, Icon of Democracy in Africa. Guest speaker, Professor Mahmoud Kubu, Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission. Royal Father of the Day is Royal Highness Dr. Yahaya Abubakar Etsunupe. Chief Host, Alhaji Muhammad Idris Malagi Kakaki Nupe, Chairman, CEO, Blueprint Newspapers Limited. Other recipients will include governors and ministers. Attendance is strictly by invitation. Blueprint Newspapers, for truth and justice.
Pension fund administrator, we soft, make sense, we care for me, shy. No be the time when story go enter the matter when it's time to deliver. Oh no. The brand is sure them no go stress you. Call them then they accessible. Yes, customer care where they on point. You no go regret when you try, of course. Profitable investment, everything is just a blend. If you know what's good for you, my guy, make you choose premium pension today. Make that switch to premium pension. Premium pension. Make that switch to premium pension.
Join over 700,000 satisfied members and enjoy the premium experience at our offices across the 36 states in Nigeria, including the FCT. Call 094615-700-704 to make the switch today. Premium pension. Active today, premium tomorrow.
In my house, we may look alike, but we are very different individuals. Everybody believes their way is best. That's why Golden Penny Pasta is our favorite meal.
Golden Penny Pasta, made with durum wheat, is tasty, nutritious, a source of protein and fiber, and non-sticky. So you can cook, serve, and eat your pasta just the way you like it. With Golden Penny Pasta, your way is best.
I am with you at every stage of your life, providing comfort when you are keeping fit, comfort when you are expecting your bundle of joy, comfort during motherhood, comfort in your office, comfort in your car, comfort when sharing a meal, comfort at bedtime. From cradle to grey, there's comfort for you with Vitafoam. Quality is vital. Quality is Vitafoam. Vitafoam, the fine art of living.
The Federal Ministry of Information and Culture cordially invites the general public to our town hall meeting with the theme Addressing Destruction of Public Infrastructure. This event is scheduled to hold on Monday, June 7th, 2021 at the Nigerian Air Force Conference Center, NAV, along Banex Jabi Road, Abuja. Time 10 a.m. This event will be covered live on the network services of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, News Agency of Nigeria, NAN, and other media outfits. It will also be live streamed on social media, courtesy of the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. Guests expected at the event are the Honorable Minister of Works and Housing, the Honorable Minister of Transportation, the Honorable Minister of Aviation, Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, among others. Meeting will be in compliance with COVID-19 protocols.
The proposed meeting of the Honorable Minister, Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, CON, with the President General, Niger Delta Youth Leaders Council, Comrade Terry Obie, and all the leaders of the ethnic nationalities of the Niger Delta region, including the Ijo Youth Council, IYC, scheduled for Friday, 4th June 2021, has been postponed. A new date will be communicated in due course. We regret any inconveniences, please. Dr. Babayo Ardo, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, Announcer.
The Supreme Council for Sharia in Nigeria invites the general public to a 2-day symposium. The recent development in the country, as widely reported in the mainstream media and the social media, clearly point to a deliberate attempt to upset the delicate harmony that exists between the ethnic groups of our dear country. Cumulative trends of these events have already created an atmosphere of distrust, fear, and tension in the country, thereby threatening the foundational basis of our coexistence as a nation. This symposium is in order to take stock of these developments in the light of the teachings of Islam and chart a way forward as a united Ummah. Venue: the International Conference Center, Abuja. Date: Friday, 4th June 2021. Time: 10 a.m. The event will be covered live on the network services of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, and the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN. Announcer: Nafiu Baba Ahmad, Secretary General, Supreme Council for Sharia in Nigeria.
Great to have you back. One important factor that drives an economy is power supply. In achieving this for Nigeria, the federal government is adopting a mixed grill solution with 30% renewable energy to bridge electricity deficit. Joshua Ojuto takes a look at interventions in the last 6 years towards achieving energy sufficiency in the country.
Nigeria's quest for reliable and adequate power supply continues in the last 6 years with interventions across the generation, transmission and distribution value chain. 2 hydro dams of Kashimbila and Dadinkowa completed, with Zungeru nearing completion to deliver additional megawatts to the national grid, as 22 substations have been constructed under the National Integrated Power Project to boost electricity supply.
There have been a lot of improvement and value that has been added to the power sector, particularly the generation, the upstream, the Big Ten generation, and a lot of improvement vis-a-vis transmission. Talking about the customer satisfaction, yes, there is still a lot of room for improvement. Like you know, the issue of tariff too is one area that has been of concern to the end users.
Interventions through renewable energy powered hundreds of rural communities in the last 6 years, with 5 million additional homes to be energized under the Economic Sustainability Plan.
It's very important for us. We do enjoy it very well. We have street light, and that street light is very bright.
So when renewable energy is taken up, you'll find that you can have off-grid, gated energy supply. This government is doing very well.
The challenge of estimated billing and loss of revenue, federal government says, is being addressed with the launch of National Mass Metering Program to deliver 6 million meters to electricity customers in the first phase.
We have now improved our collection, we have improved our remittance. The discos have now improved their remittance by 63%, because by the month of January we had the collection of up to 65 billion, which is a very, very significant improvement.
This government too has actually done a lot to actually encourage local manufacturers, because with the National Mass Metering Program, the first phase of it is very clear that there must be all meter manufacturers and there must be people who has the meters here already in Nigeria. So in the couple of times to come, definitely we're going to have more meters injected into the system that are credible. When I say credible, credible in the sense that they have been tested and certified by NEMSA.
Also, obsolete transmission infrastructure are to be upgraded with a recent approval of 6.2 billion naira by the Federal Executive Council, while federal government Siemens deal is another game changer which industry players believe will end frequent cases of grid collapse.
Before the end of this administration, you will have a sustainable, reliable electricity 24/7.
With more funds being expended in the sector, Nigerians are hopeful that it will translate to longer hours of electricity supply. In Abuja, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
In another development, the federal government investment in infrastructure in Lagos is channeled around fast-tracking mobility and in and out of the seaports with a view to reducing travel time and crash of the cost of cargo evacuation. Michael Olanle examines interventions along this line in the last few years and how they have changed the spectrum of business opportunities.
Metropolitan Lagos is not just home to the busiest seaport in the country, but also houses hundreds of industries. And since the sustenance of these economic firepowers is key to the federal government, infrastructure investments in Lagos are built around basic facilities that will ease their continued existence. The idea of rehabilitating roads, building bridges, and establishing rail connectivity. The Apapa-Oshodi Oworoshoki Expressway is one of the few roads linking the seaports, but was previously in a bad state, thereby reducing turnover on investments and creating endless gridlock. But the presidential mandate on the ease of doing business necessitated its reconstruction. Today, progress of work done is put at 75%, with concentration now on the service lanes.
There are about 11 number roads that the federal government is already intervening. Among them is this Lagos-Shagamu road. Initially, there were 2 number lanes. It has been upgraded to 3 number lanes on each side of the carriageway.
Other road projects ongoing or completed include the Victoria Island Outer Marina Idumota Road, apart from the rehabilitation of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
This is a total reconstruction of the road, coming from what you can call the foundation, and this thing has been built up.
It's almost completed. Apart from 8 kilometers, we have SOPA. The only challenge we do have is the issue of compensation.
The icing on the cake is the Lagos-Ibadan rail line project, which, despite awaiting commissioning, is already rendering world-class services to commuters. And the spectrum of hope here is that passengers will not only be moved in thousands, but containers will be exited from their Apapa ports with ease, thereby reducing the constraints on roads.
We have 2 power cars for the DMU and 3 locomotives for coaches, and we have, I think, 7 locomotives for freight. We have also received 87 wagons for freight.
The enduring infrastructural legacies built in Lagos are those that align with the basic and economic needs of the people. Sustenance and security are no longer a problem since they are in place to solve fundamental issues. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NTA News.
Highway Development and Management Initiative is the Ministry of Works and Housing's latest approach to utilizing the resources of federal highways with huge returns. Abdullahi Mohammed examines the impact of the initiative as the ministry opens the highways for investments.
32,000 kilometers of federal roads across the country. In some parts, indiscriminate parking reigns supreme. In other parts, illegal structures, trading, and a nap under the bridge after an exhaustive outing. All these without a trigger of a kobo into the pockets of the federal government. Now, the tide is about to turn. The Federal Ministry of Works and Housing has come up with a development plan along the span of its roadsides, allowing investors to put up structures, providing services to travelers. The first segment of the initiative has opened, with a lot of local investors showing interest.
The ministry shall ensure that at the end of the whole procurement processes and in line with the ICRC and Public Procurement Acts, the concession contract shall only be awarded to bidders who have satisfied the pre-qualification criteria
I would like to reiterate that the process will be transparent, fair, and ethical.
The Highway Development and Management Initiative, HDMI, has multiples of components awaiting to be unlocked for optimum utilization. The initiative is expected to attract about 160 billion naira into the coffers of the federal government. And looking at the number of interest from indigenous companies to just a part of the initiative indicates how viable it is. In Abuja, Abdullah Mohammed, NTA News.
Now, following the closure of internally displaced persons camps within Maiduguri, the state capital, Borno state government has inaugurated 582 units of houses in Auno village of Kwandika local government area of the state to resettle the internally displaced persons. Governor Babagana Umar Zulum performed the inauguration ceremony and flagged off allocation of the houses to the resettled beneficiaries. Mohammed Goni reports.
It will be recalled that the Borno state government recently closed down 2 IDP camps in the metropolis, including Mogolis camp, housing 538 households, as well as NYSC camp, with a total of 1,456 IDPs. The 582 houses at Auno were allocated to those IDPs who willingly left the 2 camps and have chosen to stay in Auno, while the remaining IDPs chose voluntarily to return to their communities of origin. Some of the beneficiaries of the new constructed 2-bedroom houses were full of praises to the state government for giving them houses which they say were better than their original places of abode. Professor Bagana Umara, who symbolically presented letters of allocation to the beneficiaries, lamented that the IDP camps have been facing many social biases such as prostitution, drug abuse, and exploitation of humanitarian intervention by some citizens who relocate to IDP camps in the daytime to partake in the foodstuff meant for IDPs, among other challenges.
Government will inshallah support all these returnees with food items in the next 1 or 2 months again, so that they will have the energy to cultivate their farmlands.
Commissioner for Reconstruction, Rehabilitation and Resettlement, Engineer Mustafa Gubio, said a total of 4,967 families were recently resettled with houses allocated to them in Damasak, Auno, Bama, Kandiga, Jere, Maiduguri, and Marche communities. The commissioner also added that during the allocation, primary school teachers, nurses, and security personnel were taken into consideration. State Ministry of Reconstruction, Rehabilitation and Resettlement constructed 500 houses, while the Bank of Industry built 82 houses. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
A cheering one from Maiduguri there. Water Aid Nigeria and the National Water Resources Institute have entered into partnership towards delivering equitable total sanitation at scale in Nigeria. Water Resources Minister Suleiman Adamu believes this partnership aimed at bridging the institutional and capacity gaps at the grassroots will facilitate attainment of the WASH targets. And WASH correspondent Musbaud Wahab reports.
National WASH Action Plan and National Sanitation Campaign tagged Clean Nigeria, Use the Toilets. Those are the flagships among other policies and programs of this administration to write the story of the water, sanitation and hygiene sector. Progress has been steady, with 61 LGAs now cleaned up of open defecation and more access gained to save water across the country. But then, the task ahead is still daunting.
In spite of slight progress nationally, Nigeria ranks first among countries globally with the highest population of people defecating in the open, and we still have 112 million without access to basic sanitation.
Coming from months of observation and analysis, the National Water Resources Institute and Water Aid Nigeria have discovered the loose ends to be tied in the right context, specific sanitation approaches and accompanying capacities to implement sanitation programs in rural communities of Nigeria. Agreement on that is now documented, and it's time for action.
We are all bent on making sure that this total sanitation is taken at higher scale in Nigeria.
I think every effort that is being made to improve sanitation in this country is welcome. But like I said, fundamentally, this this is something different. We've been doing advocacy, we've been building toilets, we've been doing boreholes and so on. But for the first time, we're having a situation where instructions are going to be given, tailored towards this particular problem, hopefully to get us out of this mess in accordance with the timetable of Sustainable Development Goals.
Water Resources Minister believes with the multiple approaches, including total political will and the strengthening of the interministerial efforts, Nigeria is on course towards realizing its water, sanitation and hygiene goals. In Abuja, Muspal and Wahab, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari congratulates former governor of Oyo State, Otumba Christopher Alao Akala, on his 71st birthday, which is tomorrow. The president joins members of Otumba Alao Akala's family, friends and political associates in celebrating him, highlighting his wealth of experience in the police. President Buhari extols the APC party chieftain for always seeking greater good for greater majority and selflessly working for the development of the country. The president prays for good health, strength, and more wisdom for the former governor. Another breather beckons, but when we come back, you will get to know how the impact of the conversation on grazing and livestock routes is already manifesting with states that could be referred to as trailblazers in the quest to revive abandoned grazing areas. Join us again.
I need help, so please go to the market and get me everything I need to cook this food. Get my pepper and get my onions. I'm waiting. Do you know how to buy pepper? Do you know how to buy tashi? You won't even let my mother come and stay. I need help. You don't know how stressful it is taking care of these 3 kids. Are you still there? If you're not getting me fresh meat, do you understand?
Okay, I'm at the
Can
meat.
you switch to video call, please? Okay, give me that one. The one by your side. Yes.
Okay, please.
Where do I buy all these things now? Hey, go get Glow Berekete and call madam.
The heavyweight voice and data plan. Get 600 naira free credit plus 700% bonus on every recharge and up to 100% bonus on data plans.
Please keep an eye on Jenny.
Oh, that's all right.
Uncle Paul, look! I want to be a pilot when I grow up.
That's good. I've always wanted to be friends with a pilot.
Uncle Paul, what's your job?
I help people understand things.
Like a teacher?
Almost. I help explain to mummies and daddies what they can do with their money. I help people build stuff. And I'm always there when they are happy and when they are sad. I help people grow all kinds of things.
You're a farmer!
Not quite. I help people keep and grow their money so later they come back when it's bigger for themselves.
You're a magician!
Just like a pilot, I help people move from where they are to where they want to be.
Thank you, Uncle Paul.
Pilot.
ARM. Invested in your tomorrow.
Hands, whether they belong to the young or old, Christian, or Muslim, no matter who you are, your hands are powerful. To stop the spread of COVID-19. H. Have your hands washed or sanitized frequently. A. Always cough or sneeze into your elbow. N. No going out without a face mask. D. Distance of at least 2 arms length should be maintained. S. Stay indoors and self-isolate if you feel sick. Hands. Fun is 10. Smart is 10. Elegance is 10. Fast is 10. My experience is 10. Redmi Note 10 Pro. Challenge the boundaries. Get the Redmi Note 10 Pro, built with a 108 megapixel camera, 120 Hz AMOLED display, and Qualcomm Snapdragon 732G, as well as 33 watts fast charge. Redmi Note 10 Pro, powered by Xiaomi.
You can get more news and updates on www.nta.ng or follow us on our Twitter handle at NTA News Now. You can also like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/NTA Network News. And also stay connected and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Also remember to watch our news live streaming at www.nta.ng/live.
Thanks for staying with us. NTA gets thumbs up from federal government for impacting revenue flows as Nigeria Exchange Group All-Share Index climbed to extend gains. And Musa Abubakar has details on business news. Musa, your turn.
Thank you, Fatima. The federal government says the operation of the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative (NIAT) has helped to mobilize and improve government revenue flows. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, represented by John Omata, Director of Special Projects in the Ministry, stated this while declaring open a knowledge-sharing session team continuity and consolidation, linking NIAT reports to impact health for the management and staff of the agency in Abuja.
For operations and activities has brought a lot of revenue to the Nigerian government. And that's why we are glad that with the activities of NAT, and we experience a little bit of transparency now in the extractive industry, the Nigerian government is now getting more revenue. And that's why I want to state here that you have the support of the Honorable Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning to do your job.
Because we have no board and we are not able to secure waiver. We are unable to secure waiver. Now we have no board, but we have secured that waiver from the NTA to release the report. Stakeholders validation, we had an extensive discussion and it's possible now to release the report. We are releasing that report on the 4th of June.
Now the capital market, equities market closed Wednesday session on bullish note to extend positive sentiment among investors who gained more than 35 billion naira. The all-share index climbed 0.18% to close at 8,482.52 basis points, and market capitalization at 20.05 trillion naira. 156.9 million shares valued at 1.3 billion naira were traded in 3,273 deals. Japan Gold, FBN Holdings and Transcorp are the most traded stocks with a combined volume of more than 42 million shares valued at over 108 million naira. Well, that's business news. It's back to you, Fatima.
Thank you, Musa. Now from business, let's talk agriculture. Keeping and managing livestock, especially cattle in Nigeria, have become a major source of concern, especially the transhumance nature of animal rearing. Consequently, the banning of open grazing by some state governors in the southern part of the country is another challenge confronting livestock producers. The federal government is therefore taking steps towards protecting the livestock industry by reviving abundant grazing areas. Musa Ababa Aliu reports that the project of reviving grazing and livestock routes has already taken off in Borno, Gombe, Niger, and Oyo states.
From Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, to Mafa local government area is about 45 kilometers. Mafa is among communities with large livestock population displaced by Boko Haram activities in the state.
Not all animals has been lost because some have taken their animals to other side else for grazing purposes. That's why we get the priority in selection. for those who are having the animals presently, because they should come back with the animals.
And this is the whole idea behind the rehabilitation of this grazing area that has been in existence in the local government since 1969.
Up with providing this type of ranging project to secure the place, to provide livelihood to the herders generally.
And the contracts were awarded by the Federal Ministry of Agric, and also the payments at the end of the day will also be done by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture.
The rehabilitation project includes construction of residential houses, a veterinary clinic, hospital, and primary school. 3 earth dams with a capacity of 12.5 million liters each being constructed in the area.
We are going to have 5 boreholes within the settlement.
This area is set aside for commercial pastoral farming and processing. The design of the farm includes the construction of an overhead tank and borehole for irrigation.
The beneficiaries are also going to be empowered with 90 cattle. So 90 bulls will be brought and it will be shared among them.
Owing to the security challenges in the area, there are presence of heavy security personnel at the site, while a perimeter fence and 11.25 kilometer long trenches are being constructed to protect the herders, livestock, and the facility. From Mafa local government area of Borno State, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Kano, a city with documented history of more than 1,000 years, is gradually losing its historic sites and monuments. The memories of its early settlers and their ancestral bravery are fast eroding due to erosion and gradual destruction by human activities. Even when one of the monuments under threat was proposed for listing on the global map as a World Heritage Site. Umar, who went around the ancient city, reports that out of more than 100 of such sites, only 3 made the list of national heritage.
Kano, the commercial hub of northern Nigeria. The commercial viability, hospitality, and population explosion makes the city continuously expanding. This poses serious threat to the city's historical monuments. City Wall, known as Badala, the only monument in the city that was enlisted as international monument, lost 75% of its building. The only 25% is under constant threat as a result of excavation and modernization.
The city wall is said to be the wall that provided security cover to the ancestors of the inhabitants of Kano City. But this is the only portion that remains in this Kofarna Isa gate.
There is penalty for somebody encouraging the city gate or the city wall or any of the monument.
We jealously love and cherish our tradition. We are not happy the way city wall is being destroyed.
In addition to the wall, the gates that were constructed more than 500 years ago are also threatened by modernization.
The modernization that is coming around. So if you go some of the city gates, you see that it has been modernized. It's not the way that it is like before.
Our traditions need to be guarded and preserved. It was passed to us by our grandparents. So if they can accept our advice, the gates shall not be destroyed.
Gidan Makama, the building that was used as a palace, built between 1440 and 1441, remained the reminiscence of the past, with galleries that showcase the rich culture of Kano people. The museum attracts visitors, especially the school children.
I came to see historical collection and I'm so delighted with what I saw.
All I have been hearing about this museum, I have seen it today and I am impressed.
Apart from the 3 nationally declared sites, there are about 100 proposed monuments and heritage sites. Popular among them are the Emir's Palace, Kano Dye Pit, and Goron Dutse, among others. In Kano, Aminu Umar, NTA News.
So far, so good. When we return from this next break we are about to take, amplified voices for a better deal for the Almajiri child. I urge you also to stay tuned for some news around firefighting that should interest you.
Very tough guy who knocks out every opponent, but now he's been knocked down by malaria.
Amatem soft gel.
Amatem soft gel.
Amatem soft gel makes treating malaria easy.
Daddy, when I had malaria in school, they gave me Amatem soft gel. It's soft and easy to swallow.
Amatem soft gel is a game changer.
Is down only in round 1. Amatem for soft gel are good to combat malaria for body.
Available for adults and children. Say no to malaria. Yes to life.
Working out can be exhausting, but I know just what to reach for when my team needs replenishment. I just want to relax and enjoy myself at home. That means it's me, my favorite movie, and my favorite yogurt. Hollandia yogurt comes in 2 variants, plain sweetened and strawberry. Wholesome nourishment from your favorite brand.
He's falling sick so frequently, either fever or stomachache. I keep him away from junk food.
She also feeds me apples. She says an apple a day keeps...
If you want to keep germs away, then also wash your hands regularly with Dettol soap.
Meaning?
Germs and disease spread through the hand also. For this, use Dettol soap. Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Dettol soap is endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association. Be Dettol sure.
The internet at home disconnects me, but that's a thing of the past. Today, I found the great solution. With Connect, I can get internet from space. It's super fast satellite internet from Connect. It's great. I can get internet everywhere. It's super simple and super fast. It's Connect. Broadband up to 100 megabits per second. All this from 6,900 naira per month. Isn't it great? Go to connect.com.
Taste is key and that's how we communicate. Best nourishment in every school. Mama, tasty mama, share the love. We all together. I love my mama. Mama, tasty, nourishing, scoop it.
Mama, best scoop of tasty nourishment.
We're starting the happiness movement with Molfix.
For baby's happiness, it is important to choose a dry diaper because with a dry diaper, babies do not have rash and are comfortable.
Nigeria's #1 choice of mothers, Molfix Air Dry, has the dryness all the mothers dream of because it's ultra absorbent and ultra breathable, so it stays dry and does not leak. Our babies do not have rash. Come on, mothers, try Molfix and join our happiness movement.
Welcome. When emergencies occur, whether natural or man-made, the time of response to the situation determines the outcome most times. How well are emergency agencies able to navigate and get access to scenes of emergencies, especially during fire outbreak? Imole Ayatekede tries to find out in this next report.
Statistics from the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency shows that from January to April 2021 alone, a total of 511 major emergency cases were recorded. Fire disasters appear to be one of the most prevalent cases, ranging from gas to tanker or truck explosion, and other vehicles totaled 62 cases. These accidents have resulted in loss of lives and property.
From the reports that we have reviewed, we discovered that most of it are carelessness. People storing petrochemicals, people maneuvering with wiring of their houses, people are not keeping to the safety rules.
In Lagos State, fire disasters experienced in major markets in the metropolis have become a recurrent decimal. As people witness victims cry out in pain, the question is, what could be the causes of fire incidents despite the various enlightenment carried out by concerned agencies?
When there is electricity and there are some electrical faults from wiring, it could result to fire outbreak. And when fire starts from a shop, it spreads to the others.
The buildings in Lagos are jam-packed, and generators can cause fire outbreak.
In combating this menace, the emergency agencies have had to confront many challenges.
Most times, people don't feel it is necessary to contact emergency responders. They try to manage it on their own. Only when they realize that they are getting overwhelmed before they will try to get to emergency responders. The community, instead of them to come out to help you to locate fire hydrants, they will not be ready to. Rather, they will start castigating and abusing responders.
What then can be done to enable their performance in averting disaster associated with fire outbreak?
When you choke up spaces, you are building up heat. When the shops are not having free here, then possibility of fire outbreak is very, very possible. Heat can enhance fire without any explosives.
They should give right of way to the emergency responders. When we get to the scene, they should cooperate with us. We will ensure that our response is not only effective, is efficient.
The emergency agencies emphasize that disasters are bound to occur every now and again, yet they can be avoided or managed without huge losses if preventive steps are adopted by residents. In Lagos, Imole Ayotokede, Ogunfowora, NTA News.
Incessant fire outbreaks are the looming disaster at commercial and residential places in parts of the country is invoking additional measures to stem the tide. This is coming as the Federal Fire Service receives reinforcement of equipment to contain the increasing cases of fire incidents in the country. Abubakar Usman Apanga reports.
The inauguration of firefighting trucks and ambulances just like this is to increase capacity response during emergency, as well as strengthen the operations of firefighters across the country. The growing statistics of fire outbreak in the country is calling attention to the need for more sophisticated approach in firefighting, which the inauguration of this equipment is set to deliver.
This intervention will address this challenge and save lives. Without a doubt. That's why we decided to provide this as basic life support assets in any fire or disaster emergency.
These newly acquired vehicles, once commissioned, will be deployed to the various commands with the aim to better equip commands for better service delivery during emergencies.
Key stakeholders in safety and prevention are synergizing to ensure effective model which will minimize occurrences and impact of disaster.
So far, over 100 firefighting trucks have been delivered, and more are coming.
Training and capacity building of personnel is expected to be scaled up in terms of operationalization with the repeal of existing law and introduction of fire police to ensure safety of personnel during emergency. The renewed vigor is a commitment that is exactly to be matched with professional know-how to save the nation from annual losses of lives and property. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Now, some people may be deficient in expressing themselves verbally, owing to one form of disability or the other, but that does not deny them of equal rights like other citizens to express themselves and be heard. This resonated at the Nigerian National Association of the Deaf press conference on discrimination against voiceless people. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim reports.
These are able-bodied men and women. They may not be able to speak,
but they have feelings and can express themselves their own way. Recently, the Nigerian National Association of the Deaf alleged that one of their members was discriminated by a domestic airline. The case was reported but fell on deaf ears.
We call on the Ministry of Aviation, Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, the Federal Airport Authority, and other federal regulatory agencies in the aviation industry to investigate and prosecute the discriminatory act preventing the deaf who paid for their flight tickets with their hard-earned money from boarding the flight. Is not only wrong, it is condemnable.
The association is demanding for inclusion in the areas of employment, education, sign language interpretation, among other national development programs and policies.
We have been excluded from national consensus. This practice cannot be allowed to continue in the light of the Sustainable Development Goal.
With over 9 million deafs in Nigeria, the group says enough is enough, as their right and dignity should be respected and preserved. In Abuja, Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTA News.
They've said it all. Now, most Almajiri children find themselves on the street as a result of their family background, community or geographical location. However, caregivers say they deserve and have the right to live normal and hopeful lives like other children in the society. It is against this backdrop that a non-governmental organization, the Almajiri Child Rights Initiative, is calling for social inclusion of these vulnerable children in Nigeria. Adebola Brooksland Sunday has that.
Migrant students, popularly called Almajiri, are usually enrolled to acquire Islamic knowledge. The nature of their journeys often places them in the tutelage of scholars, usually far from home. Such scholars, observers say, usually lack the capacity to fully support the children and make adequate provision for their welfare. In a bid to give this category of children a right to dignified life, the Almajiri Child Rights Initiative is advocating and recommending a policy that will ensure a better future for the children.
First, address the social norm issue, enlighten the parent that we need a reform. That's on one hand. On the other hand, try to also provide alternative within the community. And then, if a parent should default, then you can use a tax force and law to punish.
Khadijat Abdullahi Iya, a caregiver, is of the opinion that some of the challenges the country is facing is as a result of lack of proper nurturing of some of the children.
We often forget that when we do not take this stance, when we do not take care of the next human being, it comes back to bite us.
Child rights activist Funke Adeoye told me that the Child Rights Act is already a plus, but the implementation is the challenge.
Implementation that is not just for the child of the average person, but also the child of these children who we are talking about.
Shefiu Ziberu is one of the teachers of these Almajiri children. He said they are combining the Islamic education with skill acquisition.
Provide this machine on the to sew cloth, giving those tailors that inside his house, they are learning sewing.
Protecting and empowering the Almajiri children by fighting for their rights to education, health, safety, and nutrition, key players say will help them attain their full potential in life. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
Thank you, Adebola. For some time now, challenges encountered by would-be candidates in course of registering for the 2021 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination have been a source of concern to candidates, parents and guardians. To ascertain true situation of things, correspondent Olainka Ojo caught up with some prospective candidates who were unable to register during the initial registration window that ended on the 29th of May 2021. Here are his findings.
Just like all other registration processes, JAMB's UTME also has laid down rules and regulations. And JAMB has insisted that UTME and direct entry candidates must adhere strictly to its registration guidelines aimed at addressing sharp practices by candidates. While it was seamless for some candidates, it wasn't to others.
There was a mistake from the registration, so they were not able to generate her NIN number.
Hawa Oinoiza, like many others, attributed the challenge to JAMB's system failure, while she was actually the architect of her unpleasant experience.
I thought I could do it before it closes, because if they had sent me the profile code, I would have done it earlier before the closing date.
But now you have your profile code?
Yes, now I have my profile code.
A look into her registration history on the system revealed why Hawa and her likes were stranded.
The team is telling you that somebody has used your number. What do you want to do?
Some candidates impute telephone numbers where they ought to put NIN number. Some submitted details without having credit on their telephone, which attracts 50 naira charge. Some, comma, where they were supposed to leave a space. These and many more mistakes are made by candidates. What then will happen to the registration of such candidates whose cases are self-inflicted or not genuine?
All this we are going to look at the background. When we now discover that you have no case, we will not register you. Because we cannot pay for your incompetence.
From our findings, we found out that candidates who had one problem or the other were those who think they can outsmart the system or did not comply with the process. Olainka Ujo, NTA News.
Lovely findings there, Olainka. Now, what meaningful development can there be in the absence of peace? So find out the various platforms, the talking points, and a group pledging peaceful coexistence at this critical time. Details after this time out. Please stay.
Like a bird needs wings to fly, you need skills to be productive. No matter the level of your education, ITF can train you to acquire skills in areas like mechatronics, metal machining, facility technology, electronics and computer networking, information and communication technology, ICT, culinary art, and agriculture. Acquire a skill and transform yourself from being unemployed to becoming even an employer. Be a valuable Nigerian youth. Say no to unemployment and poverty.
It's time.
Industrial Training Fund, developing the nation's human resource.
And that's all we have on today's edition of the Trophy Live Trivia. But before I go, I just want to say this. Keep your energy up. Don't be so hard on yourself. You dey walk now, guy. You dey also go. You deserve a trophy with your fellow honorables. Anything you do that gives you the kick is worth recognition. Just look at yourself in the mirror and say, wow, now honorable I be you. And even when we are feeling so stressed up, we can ginger each other up and share some good bottles of Trophy Lager. Because anyhow we be, when honorables gather, we share, we dream, and we win together. My name is still Fowles, aka Fowles the bad guy. Honorable was Bayi.
Thanks for staying. The Supreme Council for Sharia in Nigeria has reacted to recent developments in Nigeria, saying they are a deliberate attempt to upset the delicate harmony existing in the nation. A statement from the council noted that cumulative trends from the events have already created an atmosphere of distrust, fear and tension in the country, thereby threatening the foundation and coexistence as a nation. It urged all Nigerians to always use dialogue to resolve issues and grievances and avoid taking measures that will fuel conflicts. In the meantime, national leaders of Afenifere, Ohanaeze Ndigbo, Northern Consensus Movement and Pan-Niger Delta Forum are appealing to those calling for secession to have a rethink and present their issues in the ongoing constitution amendment process. This was at a national peace dialogue in Abuja. Mayor Ogidi reports.
Nigeria, with diverse groups, diverse agitations, and there are fears.
The mother of my children is from Imbisi in Imo State. So, and today we have 7 children. So you tell me, if this country go either way, how am I going to do with those 7 children?
Awal's position stimulates discussions with deep sense of national brotherhood.
We may disagree, we may not even like each other so much, but at the end of the day, we will not go into war.
Secession is not an option in addressing the contemporary national challenges, but some systemic issues.
If a new constitution is made on the basis of true federalism, there will be no more agitation because what gave birth to their agitations will have been taken care of.
Please, when your people agree, please call the people to tell and among themselves a dialogue.
People should not be recollecting the past and telling us that some groups have cheated some groups. Yes, these have been going on one way or another, but we share something in common.
For the facilitators of the discourse, Youths of the Street Initiative, such platform provides a bank of ideas for the leaders in addressing the ethnic challenges in the country. Mayor Ogidi, NTA News.
In these days of mutual suspicion all over, it is refreshing and hopeful to hear non-indigenous people say they will dig in, promote peace with their host communities and contribute to the development of the place of their abode. That is what the Igbos in Cross River State resolved to do. For Governor Ben Ayade, the emphasis should be on residency rather than indigenship, so that Nigerians can contest for elective positions irrespective of their states of origin. Paul Abel will break this down for us.
The giant strides attained by Governor Ben Ayade in the area of industrialization in Cross River State are endearing many to his personality. And with several Igbo sons and daughters given appointment in the Ayade administration, the Igbos residing in Cross River State say the governor has created the enabling environment for the over 800,000 Igbos and 45 billion naira investment in the state to thrive.
I assure you, Your Excellency, that Igbos will continue to be very loyal to our host communities. We will continue to promote peace. We want to assure you. Where you are going to, the Igbos will follow you.
Governor Ayade, who spoke on his governance structure and philosophy to make it a business enterprise, independent of federal allocations, commended the Igbos for contributing to the state's economy.
We don't see you as Igbos. We see you as Nigerians. We don't see you as Igbos. We see you as Cross-Riverians. I am completely against our structure where you say because you are not Cross-Riverian, you cannot run an election in Cross-River, even if you were brought up in 8 years and your own children born here. That has to change.
A song produced by one of the Igbos was presented to the governor as a thank you for his support to them. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
Lovely dance steps there. Nigeria's second African peer review process commissioned by President Muhammadu Buhari is making significant progress with the completion of the country's self-assessment report for presentation to the Federal Executive Council. National coordinator of the new Partnership for Africa's Development, NEPAD, and the African Union Development Agency, Gloria Akombundu, says this is in spite of the new normal occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic. Mitari Ekbeng reports.
Nigeria's second peer review seeks to assess the progress the country has made in good governance among African countries since the first peer review in 2008. The thematic areas guiding the review include economic governance and management, socio-economic development, corporate governance, as well as political governance and democracy. Members of the National Governing Council of the African Peer Review Mechanism note that the media, civil society organizations, pressure groups, as well as traditional and religious bodies were among institutions that made critical inputs.
The document will be presented to Mr. President for Federal Council, Executive Council discussion, and then finally the peer review, meaning the President with his peers, other member states, heads of states and government will sit to look into our submission, proffer solution to challenges, to boost the economy, to boost our employment level, to boost job industrialization. All these are being captured in the review.
It's going to help greatly in improving the governance of our country.
When Nigeria's self-assessment report is eventually considered by the Federal Executive Council and the African Union, Nigeria looks good to join the likes of Kenya, Uganda and Mozambique that have been peer-reviewed for the second cycle out of 40 participating member countries in the African Peer Review Mechanism. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
And to sports now, the just-ended English Premier League season produced lots of interesting moments and events which will continue to bring up talking points. With the memories of the unique season still fresh, Bade Adele will be taking a look back at the season, which was competitive until the very end.
Right from the first kick of the ball in the 2020-2021 season of the Premier League, it was obvious that it was going to be a weird season with the coronavirus pandemic keeping the fans away until the penultimate week. The inconsistency of the video assistant referees made it even weirder. All 20 teams competed with different objectives. The title chase, which was very open in the beginning, became a battle between the two Manchester clubs, City and United, at the turn of the year, with the citizens eventually claiming the league title after an impressive campaign. Manchester United finished second, but the race for the top four behind them was very interesting. Liverpool, despite looking destined for Europa League, gate-crashed the top four to finish third. Chelsea were fourth, while Leicester City, who were third for a larger chunk of the season, dropped to fifth. West Ham United, Aston Villa and returning Leeds United put up impressive performances, with West Ham finishing sixth, while Tottenham beat Arsenal to the seventh spot, returning Fulham and West Brom alongside the 2020 surprise team. Sheffield United got relegated. Harry Kane finished as the league's top scorer and assister, with Bruno Fernandes and Ilkay Gundogan also outstanding. But the performances of newcomers like Manchester City defender Ruben Dias and Manchester United striker Edinson Cavani were eye-catching. Emiliano Martinez of Aston Villa and Jesse Lingard, who was on loan at West Ham, also made the list.
Nobody was looking at him at Manchester United. He leaves for a loan spell at West Ham United and was smashing everybody else, dragging the team by the scruff of the neck and leading them to Europe. So, I'm very excited for the young man. Then, of course, you had a Joe Willock, who was not even playing at Arsenal, going to Newcastle United also, to be dropping goals every week.
It was a great season for followers of the league in Nigeria, as quite a number of Nigerian stars like Kelechi Iheanacho and Wilfred Ndidi of Leicester City, Shemi Ajayi of West Brom, 5 more players at Fulham, and many more were always flying the Nigerian flag. Managerial changes also defined the season, with Thomas Tuchel replacing Frank Lampard at Chelsea. Sam Allardyce was chosen after West Brom sacked Slaven Bilic, while Tottenham's Jose Mourinho and Sheffield United's Chris Wilder also lost their jobs. The biggest one that almost marred the season was the failed European breakaway, the Super League, which saw the Big Six in the league fully involved as founder members.
I didn't think it was going to fly with the way teams were pulling out and the fact that UEFA was going to stand against it. When it comes to clubs and businesses, they should think about the players as well, not just themselves.
The 2020-2021 season of the Premier League is gone. However, the bottom line will always be, it was a very strange season. In Abuja, Bade Adeleye, NTA News.
You can say that again, Badiadele. As a Man City fan that I am, I won't say much. Congratulations to Chelsea fans all out there. Well, with that, we conclude today's edition of News Extra. Do remember to join NTA to stand against rape and rapists. I am Fatima Maruba. Do have a lovely night rest.